Welcome back to another episode of Red Jello Reviews. In this one, we're just going to be reviewing the Super Bowl because there is no more games to predict for the season. Obviously, the Super Bowl being the last game of the 2021 through 2022 NFL season. That is it. So we just have to review this game. I probably won't really be making too many sport videos in the future. This is probably the last one I'll ever make. Maybe next year I might do another playoff run. We'll see if I'm up to it when that time comes. But, if you're into sports talk, head over to my friend Aaron's channel because that's what he focuses on. I focus on mainly reviews, but I really wanted to cover these playoff predictions that I've been doing. So, but anyway, let's just get right into it. Yeah, hit it. So first off, my prediction, where I was right, where I went wrong. Well, I was wrong. Let's just get that out of the way right now. The Rams won this game. I thought the Bengals were going to win, but you know what? It went down to the wire. It was a 3 point difference. It was a very close game. It was a hard fought game, but I was wrong on my prediction. Anyone could have been. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't really care, but I was wrong. Um, in my opinion, I think Cincinnati played a better game of football through most of the game, but they weren't able to hold on to that strength. They were able to keep the Rams off the field for a good amount of the time. Pretty much the first 3 quarters, they really did a good job not allowing too many points to be scored on them. They had the lead most of the time, and it was a slim lead that they just weren't able to extend. In the end, obviously, Matt Stafford and the Rams put a drive together that put a touchdown on the board, which gave them the lead. Cincinnati just wasn't able to deliver uh, to respond to that and weren't able to get that field goal to tie or a touchdown to win it nonetheless. They just weren't able to get the job done in the end. If they had stopped the Rams from scoring, then they would have won the game. But they just weren't able to get the job done in the end when it came down to the last minute. And you can't blame them for that. I mean, they had like 30 something seconds left. It was fourth down. They had no choice but to go for it since they're out of field goal range. And Joe Burrow made an effort. You know, he was getting sacked. He threw the ball out, but it just wasn't caught. um, but yeah, I mean, it went down to the wire. It was a close game. So, I mean, I was right in that regard. I was just wrong on the result of the game. But let's also get into what I thought about the Super Bowl, my opinion of the whole experience, rather than just focusing on, where I went wrong, my prediction, and all that. Let's focus on my overall opinion of this Super Bowl. So let's just get right into it. To start off, obviously, I'm a Patriots fan. I make that very visible every time I film a football related video. As you can see, I'm wearing my Julian Edelman jersey, favorite NFL player of all time, in my Patriots hat. I ain't playing games. I'm a New England fan until I die. So obviously, I do not care about the Super Bowl in the way a Bengals or Rams fan would. And I don't hate or like either of those two teams in any way, shape, or form. So I had no reason to care or get emotional about any certain thing that could have possibly happened in this game. Part of me was rooting for the Bengals simply because I thought they were going to win, and that was my prediction. But at the same time, I really couldn't have cared less who won in the end, and the Rams did win in the end, but I just really couldn't have cared less. But let's dig into this a little deeper. I think objectively speaking, and I think a lot of people have agreed with me on this from posts I've seen on the internet and people who have talked to me about the Super Bowl, it was really underwhelming. This Super Bowl was not entertaining. It was quite boring. In my humble opinion, I think it was a boring Super Bowl. I don't think there was a lot to talk about there. It was a close game like anyone would expect it, but there wasn't any moments that really made me go, holy fucking shit. Like, wow. There wasn't any of the, Julian Edelman's amazing catch or Malcolm Butler interception moment where it's like, holy shit, you're shitting your drawers. And obviously, for me, personally, as a New England fan, those Super Bowls And that shit that happened in those Super Bowls are way more dynamic to me than a neutral fan of another team would have been viewing these Super Bowls. But as someone who's even just a football fan at all, or just one of those people who only watches the Super Bowl because they don't care about football, I can't stand those people for the most part, but it's a common thing, so whatever. Even if you were one of those people who watched Super Bowl 51 or Super Bowl 49, you could appreciate those last moment efforts where Malcolm Butler intercepts the football, or the crazy comeback from 28 to 3 point lead where the Patriots made a comeback and tied the game and won it in overtime. Like, you can still appreciate those things as a football fan to say these are entertaining Super Bowls to watch. Just for an example. And there's other ones, of course, to use for this example. But we can talk about things too. Like, if you go to Super Bowl 53, I was very happy with that Super Bowl because my team won. But to anyone else, it was probably a very underwhelming Super Bowl, as I can imagine. But in my opinion, objectively, I think it was great defensive football for how low of a scoring game that was. But a lot of people don't like defensive football. A lot of people are more, they want to see the action on the offense, which I understand. So I can obviously understand why people would have seen Super Bowl 53 as an underwhelming and boring Super Bowl, especially if they weren't a Patriots fan. For me, I was very happy with the way the game ended because I'm a Patriots fan. But the Cincinnati Rams game, I just wasn't entertained by it at really any moment of the game. There was a couple of moments where I was like, oh shit, that was kind of nice. But, you know, obviously I'm looking at this through a lens of someone who has nothing to care about in this game. I did bet $5 in a pool on it, but who gives a shit? I lost $5, whatever. But regardless, there was just nothing riding on this game for me. But I just imagined that for anyone really, they can kind of agree for me. There was just nothing that insane or crazy about it. The game was close the whole time. There was a bit of nail biting to it. I imagine if you're a fan of either of those two teams, there wasn't really any key defining moments that made shit crazy. If Joe Burrow had made that, shovel throw that he made in the end of the game on fourth down, then there would have been something to talk about when it came down to that moment. But the whole experience to me was just really, really underwhelming and boring. The whole time I'm watching it, like in my head, I'm just like, oh, when can this game end so I can go to bed? Like, I have to wake up for work in the morning. Literally, like, there's just nothing to it that really kept my eyes on the game. I was literally more interested in the food that I was eating than the game, because it just got to the point where I'm like, it's just the same shit. It's dragging on. It's like I wanted the game to end, which isn't an experience you should have when watching a game. You should be, lasered in on it. Obviously, it's not like I can get mad at anyone for that. You play your best game, and how it goes is how it goes. It's not like, oh fuck, oh, this game's getting boring. We got to allow the fucking Bengals to do a crazy touchdown. So obviously, I'm not bitching at that or complaining about that in the sense that, hey, it should have been a better game, because a game is going to go the way a game goes. The best team wins, and both teams are going to play as hard as they can to get that win. So that's not my point. My point is that it just happened to be a boring, underwhelming Super Bowl. Now, there is a lot of people who like to watch Super Bowls for the commercials. Like, literally, there's people who don't give a fuck about football, and they will still watch the Super Bowl every year just for the commercials, which is odd to me because who the fuck likes commercials? But the Super Bowl does bring some really fun and entertaining ads. You bring celebrities and crazy things. This year, there was not a single commercial that was like, oh, holy shit, this is amazing, oh, that's great, like, oh, like, there was not a single commercial that did that for me. Like, whereas if I think back to other ones, there was a few commercials that went, oh, that's really great. Like, for example, I like the one a few years ago where they had Tom Brady with all his rings on his fingers, and it had like all the other NFL players like going at it and playing football in the middle of a restaurant. Like, I thought that was funny. Like, I thought that was entertaining. You get those moments. This year, there was really nothing. The most emotion that I felt during the entire experience of this Super Bowl watch, and I didn't watch all the commercials, I missed some of them, but I probably had nothing to miss out on. The most emotion I felt was this one ad where it was a Peyton Manning like bowling alley ad. Can't remember exactly what he was advertising. I think he's opening a bowling alley or some shit. I don't know. I love bowling, by the way, so that's cool. But Peyton Manning was my nemesis, but I have a lot of respect for the man, obviously. But Um, Not to get too off topic, it started off very good. So you had Steve Buscemi working the bowling alley, which is like, oh shit, like maybe they're making a Big Lebowski reference because Big Lebowski is my favorite movie. Like this could be fucking awesome. You know, they have Steve Buscemi who played Donnie in the Big Lebowski. So I'm like, okay, hold up. And you notice they're doing Jesus or Jesus, whatever you want to call him, the Big Lebowski. They're doing his gestures, the pointing, and the licking and the kisses, the winking, like they're doing his gestures when they're bowling, like they're clearly paying tribute to Jesus from the Big Lebowski when they're bowling. They're clearly doing that, like Peyton Manning's doing, all the other people are doing it. So I'm like, okay, like this is great, this is great. And then it cuts to showing like the bottom half of someone wearing the purple bowling outfit, which Jesus wore in the Big Lebowski. And so I'm like, oh shit. So in my head, I'm like, they're adding all this suspense to like, oh shit, like maybe it's actually going to be the actor that played Jesus, or maybe it's going to be Jeff Bridges, maybe it's going to be the dude, maybe it's going to be Jeffrey Lebowski himself, the Big Lebowski himself, like maybe it's going to be him. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is going to be amazing. Just the most emotion I felt the entire Super Bowl experience, and then it's just some random woman. I mean, she's probably famous, but I literally did not recognize her. So I'm sorry if I'm like shitting on someone. I'm sure someone will get mad in the comments. How do you not recognize someone? So I literally do not even know who the hell that was. So I apologize about that, but I did not know who the hell she was, and it was just a big disappointment and slap in the face, regardless of who it was. Like it could have been someone I did know or even a fan of, and I still would have been insulted because I just wanted it badly to be either Jeff Bridges or the guy that played Jesus in the Big Lebowski, but it was neither of those. It was literally just completely irrelevant to the Big Lebowski, so it just completely smacked me in the mouth. But that was the most emotion I felt the entire experience of the Super Bowl. Now, the other thing we can review here outside the game is, of course, the halftime show. The halftime show I was happy with because even though I'm not a big hip hop or rap guy, that is not my genre of music. I'm a rock and roll, old rock kind of guy, Pink Floyd listening motherfucker. Okay, so like, I'm not big into rap, but I do appreciate and enjoy a lot of older rap, classic hip hop, I fucking hate new age rap, like the new SoundCloud garbage that comes out. Like 98.9% of it is straight fucking garbage. So I was happy they didn't throw some clowns out like that. They threw rap legends out. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar. I wouldn't put in the same tier of those rappers, but he's one of the few new age rappers that are around, if you want to call them new age rap, you know what I mean? Like, not really with the classic type of rap that, you have with like Snoop Dogg or 50 Cent or those guys, like, who is good. So, I wasn't insulted by Kendrick Lamar's presence because I think he's good. Like, again, not my style of music, not really my cup of tea, but like, these are guys that are good, right? You have Eminem, Snoop Dogg hopping on there, Dr. Dre. I don't know how the fuck I forgot to mention Dr. Dre, like absolute legends of hip hop on the stage. So even though it's not exactly my cup of tea, the songs that they performed, I knew and I enjoyed. So like just getting finally some sort of positive halftime show performance, like or response in my mind was made me happy because I can't remember the last time I watched a halftime show and liked it. Pretty much every single halftime show in recent memory has been complete and utter shit. Like completely, I can't even remember them because they were so fucking forgettable or bad. And because they always just play like like normally like modern pop and shit like that, which I can't stand or give a fuck about. And that's the pathway they've been taking in recent memory. So I was glad to see them take a step back and go old school because obviously I understand why they're going for some of the new age shit because that's what a lot of people are listening to. I'm an old soul when it comes to music. I'm not listening to most of the shit people listen to today, or certainly people my age are mostly listening to today. So I can't really whine or bitch when they take that approach. You know, that they're not bringing Led Zeppelin out or some shit, or they're not bringing the Beatles or half the Beatles back from the grave, to team up with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. I can't bitch about that because that's not what most people today are going to want. But I'm just like, objectively speaking, most of the halftime shows in recent memory have been absolute fucking forgettable garbage. So just to see these legendary uh, hip hop artists take a stage was a relief. With that being said, it wasn't that thrilling. It was a little underwhelming the way they did it in a sense. And I'm not gonna like nitpick it too much because it was still good. Like they did a good job, and I'm saying it wasn't anything to put me in the back of my seat, make me shit my drawers or anything. And that's mostly just because it's not my cup of tea, not really my genre. But these were still great artists that they put up on the stage. Um, yeah, I don't think there's really too much more to talk about. I think the halftime performance is relatively good. Like I said, not my cup of tea, but I was happy to see some good performers on stage and some songs that I actually like and knew. It made me happy to say the least. Um, Not a big hip hop or rap guy, but I definitely appreciate the art and definitely realize what Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre have contributed to the musical industry. So, I was relatively okay slash happy with that performance. But pretty much when it came down to it, I was watching the Super Bowl at my parents' house. And like halfway through the fourth quarter, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going home. And I did end up watching the rest of the game back at home. But yeah, I mean, I really didn't care that much about it. There wasn't too much to talk about. It was underwhelming and forgettable. Like I think people are not really going to remember or give a fuck about the Super Bowl and or bring it up unless you're a Rams or Bengals fan. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.